Let's start with what happened this past weekend. I saw the crowds by all accounts. Maybe 500,000 people showed up, and the theme of this latest march was safety. How do we make people, and particularly children, safe? You probably disagree with their ends.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that somebody said kind of flippantly that you realize when you've reached extreme first world freedom problems when you're using one right in order to advocate against another right. I think everyone's happy to see people obviously engaged in the political process. The thing that has really frustrated me about this is that the Second Amendment has become all about guns instead of essentially a right to self-defense, which is a basic civil liberty. If you don't have the means or the ability to be able to defend yourself, if your government is willing to restrict that to such a degree where it makes it completely impossible, that should be a pretty terrifying notion to a free people. And there's all kinds of things that we can talk about with respect to security and safety that I think we agree on. The problem is that a lot of people on the left see this as their opportunity to really tear apart the Second Amendment.
Retired Justice John Paul Stevens says the Second Amendment should go.
And as long as they see it as their opportunity to do that, which this is not, as long as they see it as that opportunity, we're not going to be able to really focus on the things that we do actually agree on, whether it's additional school resource officers, whether it's better communication between local, state, and federal law enforcement when it comes to some of these issues, whether it's things like trauma-informed education, so both our teachers and our law enforcement can better identify, see indicators of maybe a youth that has grown up in an environment that maybe it was very abusive, and so they've become a lot more comfortable with violence than any of us would like. If we could focus on those things and we could actually address the behavior and the circumstances, I think we'd be doing far more to actually protect our students than simply tearing apart the Second Amendment. And one of the things I tried to address in my speech, and I directed it specifically toward the students, I said, look, whatever you do tomorrow, understand that you're going to walk out, and when you walk back into the classroom, all the same problems will be there. I said, don't let any politician fool you into believing that the only way you can make positive change in this life is by affecting politics or by passing some sort of new law, because one, it's not true, and two, a lot of times it actually ends up with worse results than you would have anticipated. I love it when people don't assume that the way to fix everything is through politics, and that's not just with issues that we see of supply and demand within the marketplace, but also when it comes to charitable aspects as well, or our safety and security. Neighbors looking out for one another, meeting together and doing a neighborhood watch, or parents, this happened in Israel, where parents actually came and provided security in their own schools because they were going to protect their kids, and they didn't see it as something where, well, okay, if you really care, right, why are you going to wait for a one-year legislative process to do it? If the need is immediate, what's stopping you? Right? We're Americans. We don't let things like that stop us. We go find a solution. We go work with other people. But politicians, and it's been both on the right and the left, but I say it's a core philosophy of liberal progressivism, they really do behave as if political advocacy is the only way to affect any sort of positive change in your community. And it is, again, in some parts dehumanizing. And in another part, it's just, it robs people of the inherent power they have just as an individual, not as a member of a political party, not as a member of some sort of collective that's going to go advocate, but as the internal power they have to go in, reach into other people's lives, touch those people in a way that is going to affect the positive change that they want to see in their community. Ultimately, do you want to take the gun out of that kid's hand that could be a threat to the school? Okay, but now they just got in a car, or they set off a bomb, or they grabbed a knife. Or do you want to change that kid's life in a way that they would never even consider doing something like that because someone demonstrated basic human compassion, concern, and love for them? And when we just give all of that up to say, oh, I guess we need a new law, that's the breakdown of society. That's the breakdown of society.